Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear students. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Conceptual Foundations of Education. This video is based on Sociology of Childhood Development, and in this lecture we will be discussing School as an Agency of Education. This video is developed by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert or the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha Channels of MHRD, now known as the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello dear students, I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on the sociology of childhood development, and here the lecture will be based on school as an agency of education. So let us start the discussion. The objectives of this session are to elaborate the meaning and definition of the school as an agency of education, to delineate the need of a school, to discuss the importance of a school, to explain the concept of school, and to elaborate the formal and informal functions of a school. So let us see that what exactly we are going to have here in the discussion on schools. So school as an agency of education. If we try to discuss this point, the first thing which we should mention is the meaning of school. Etymologically, the word school is derived from the Greek word skol, which means leisure. In ancient Greece, leisure places were used for self-development. Then what happened? Gradually these places came to be known as schools, where teachers under a pre-planned system used to give specific a kind of curriculum transactions during a fixed time period. So the four walls, the furniture, the other educational material, and all the stuff which was related here in the transaction of education uh, were all gradually considered as the part of the school. So these are some sort of you can say the giving meaning to this term of school. In the words of A.F. Leach, he says that the discussion forums or talking shops where the youth of Athens spent their leisure time in sports and exercises, in training for war, gradually crystallized into school of philosophy and the higher arts. In the leisure spent in the trim gardens of the academy, school developed. So this is something which informs us that in the olden days, schools were the places where people sent their children to, to actually spend their leisure time in a very amusing way, where the children or these students were very much in close coherence of the teachers who used to teach them just like uh, friends, or you can say that they were spending their leisure time in a very good way. So this was the way in which school was, or different schools were taught in the ancient Greece. So after seeing the meaning of the school, let us try to see the definition of school. And let us see few of those definitions which were given by some eminent scholars. The first definition which I would like to mention is given by John Dewey. John Dewey says, under quotes, school is a special environment where a certain quality of life and certain types of activities and occupations are provided with the object of securing the child's development along desirable lines. Quotes close. So you can see that in these lines how John Dewey is expressing the role of a school in the life of a child. The next definition is given by J.S. Ross. In the words of J.S. Ross, under quotes, schools are institutions devised by civilized man for the purpose of aiding in the preparation of the young for well-adjusted and efficient members of society. Quotes close. So you can see here that how the thought process of J.S. Ross is very much reflected here in the definition of school, where he is saying that by the institution of school, we try to make the child a civilized human being. Now let us see the need of the school. Why there is a need of the school? Why we have devised such type of institutions? And for seeing that particular need, we have to see towards our ancient times. So in the ancient human life, which was very much simple, knowledge had not grown so vast as it is today. So human needs were very simple, and they could be easily fulfilled by the informal agencies like our family and the community. So what happened gradually with the development of vast and varied knowledge and the growth of overpopulation, needs of man increased. So and what happened that with the growth of the population, people were migrating and they were going from one place to another. And this was also one of the reasons where they were adapting the different cultures. So they were adapting a lot of different cultures and civilizations, which have become so complex and complicated that it became almost impossible for the parents or the guardians to transmit some sort of specified uh, type of knowledge to their children. So what happened that this has given a kind of need for most of the parents and the other members of the family to go ahead and see for some sort of institutions, because they were so much busy and a lot of engagements were there in their own vocations, their professions, and a lot of different tasks which they were accomplishing in terms of the completing their daily life activities. So to accomplish all these daily life chores, they were supposed to spend a lot of time in their workplaces, and this was a time when the children who were sitting at home, or they were those children who were just left behind, were not getting proper sort of knowledge or development things. So the need was felt for some type or some sort of institution which could preserve, transmit, and develop the cultural heritage. And in this way, we can say that the formal agency of education, which we are naming as school, came into existence on account of a rapid rise in the means of transport and communication, which was very much uh, key features of urbanization, of the growing population, and the position of women as wage earners. This is also a very important point, that the females, the mothers, and the other female members of the family were also supporting their male counterparts in wage earning. So they were also out of the house for earning the wages. This was also one of the reasons why there was a need which was felt for an institution which can be specialized for imparting education, first and foremost of the cultural heritage, and rest of the times a lot of other things. So uh, we can also say that in the beginning, the school benefited only the rich and those people who were considered as the well-to-do people. It is the modern democratic society of today which has begun to cater to the educational needs of the poor and the neglected also. In almost all the countries of the world which we can name, including our country, the schools came into existence by the same process and the same circumstances of society. So this is something which is related to how the need of a specialized institution, which was named later on as school, came into existence and how this need was felt. The next point is importance of school. We all know that any institution or any part of the society will be surviving only if it plays a very important role for the lives or for the development of the society. So in a way we can say that schools are playing important roles for the development, for the good of the society. That's why these institutions are surviving. So let us see one by one that what are those important roles which schools play. The first point to be discussed here is the extensive cultural heritage, how the schools maintain or provide a kind of support to the development of the extensive cultural heritage. In the modern times, when we all were considering knowledge to be very much related to the vast and varied cultural heritage, and also it was given and it was transacted through the informal agencies like the family and the community. uh, there were a lot of things which were treasured by people and which were transmitted from one generation to another generation. So schools played a very important role here when they, as a formal agency, tried to support this task and tried to complete this task of transaction of this cultural heritage from one generation to another. So they supported the informal uh, agency of family for making this very important task done. The second point is that schools were just like a connection or a kind of connecting link between home and the world. The family basically develops in the child various qualities and values which can be named as sympathy, love, sacrifice, cooperation, tolerance, service, and many more. But all these qualities remain connected with the members of the family and at times only inside the four walls of the family. This makes the child narrow minded. So, if we send a child to an institution where this child gets to know many people who are coming from different families, basically the child becomes much more related to the external world. So, school is a connecting link between the family and the external world. In school, the child comes in contact with children belonging to different families. This contact basically widens the child's outlook with the result of making this child much more capable and this child becomes a better citizen in terms of facing the challenges and multifarious problems of life and the wider society. So in this way we can say that the school plays a very important link in terms of connecting the child and uh, the life of a child in the home with the external world. Then the next point is provision of a special environment. What exactly it means? Basically, the informal agencies, like the family, do not impact the education according to a pre-planned scheme. So whatever is happening inside the family is not pre-planned. Basically, The child observes things which are happening inside the family, the parents talking in a specific way, and by the means of observation, he or she learns. So, in this way, the effect to such indefinite environment affects adversely upon the growth and development of the child, because we can say that at times the family members are not that much groomed, or they are not that much educated. So it is possible that this child is also getting all those things learned which are not so much desirable for making this child a better citizen. So we can say that schools provide a simple, pure, and kind of interesting scheme which ensures the overall development, which can be the physical, mental, emotional, and social development for this child in a natural way. So, in this way, school is an important agency of education which provides a kind of universal education for every child, ensures a set of qualities or educational values for every child who is the part of the school, maybe coming from any type of family. Then the next point is the harmonious development of the personality. The family, which is an informal institution, or the community, or maybe the religion, with other informal agencies, do not have set aims and objectives of education. We have already discussed this earlier also. The family, or the community, the religion, or any of the other informal agencies, plans and schemes of education are also indefinite. So they don't have any definite set of things which are to be transacted in terms of educating the child. And sometimes the kind of vagueness which is present here in these informal agencies of education, or uh, the the systems which are very much informal, they affect the personality of the child adversely and develops in this child some undesirable habits and attitudes. But if you say just the flip side, the aims and activities of a school or any institution which is having all these things or all these schemes very pre-planned, or they have got all those set norms, they ensure the harmonious development of the child. So we can consider them very much important for the overall development or the harmonious development of the personality of the child. So we can say that they are very much important institutions and we should not underestimate them at all. And the next point is the development of cultural pluralism. In the school, children belonging to different religions, different castes, or from different socioeconomic background, different creeds or subcastes, they all come together and they mix up freely with each other in a very friendly atmosphere. And uh, obviously, there would be a guidance of the teachers. So they all form a friendly atmosphere, and this results into the development of all those feelings which can be considered as very much positive, like the feeling of sympathy, cooperation, tolerance, and respect for the views and cultures of others in a very natural way. So, in this way, we can say that school is an important agency for the development of the cultural pluralism among the children, because this is a place where all these different cultures and all those multiple type and types of children come in, and they spend their time together. They learn to respect each other's customs, and they try to understand that what exactly is being done by somebody is the part of their culture. So in this way we can say that they enhance the feeling of the cultural pluralism among the children. The next point is that schools are the means of propagation of the ideas and ideologies of the state. So school is an important agency for the propagation of ideas and all those ideologies of the state or the government in the shortest possible time. And that is why all the democratic or any sort of the government, it can be any type of, have assigned due importance to the school, and they also keep an eye on the schools. They try to at times control the schools also. But we, as a citizen or the member of the society, have to see that how we can ensure the freedom of the schools. So this is something which is very much important to be considered. Next point is the perpetuation and development of society. Society reviews and develops itself through the active cooperation of school. All the social problems and needs of society are basically flashed in one way or the other in school, which provides the desired solution for all the problems of the society. And in this way, the social progress goes on and on with the help of school. So basically, the schools maintain this flow where the society um, can get few of those solutions. With the help of the schools, the problems can be solved and the flow of society can be maintained. The next point is the creation of educated citizens. How to educate the citizens or how to make every single child an educated citizen. This is also something which in a democracy schools have to make sure. So school has a very kind of important role for making the children learn their rights and duties and develop love, affection, sympathy, cooperation, tolerance, and responsibility towards themselves and towards others. So, with the development of these socially desirable values, the schools provide useful citizens, or you can say a kind of citizen who is good for himself or herself and also for others and at large for the nation. So, this is something which is considered to be a very important feature of the schools. Then, if we say that schools also encourage the corporate life, then we will not be wrong. Why? Because the individual life needs a certain set of socialization things. The child should be encouraged to be more and more social in the outlook and behavior. School basically provides these experiences for the child to understand social behavior and develop in this child a sense of social responsibility and corporate life, where this child is going to spend a constructive life, also earn his or her wages, and also share different type of experiences in terms of making him or her a socially responsible citizen. The next point is that schools are considered as the better place of education than the informal agency of home or the family. So, under the influence of the group life in school, because schools ensure the group life for the children, a child learns many social qualities and the things which are important for this child to be to become a part of the society or the uh, wonderful citizen of the society. So, the physical surroundings of school which are considered to be very much healthy. There is a simple provision for games or physical activities, sports, and various kinds of cultural activities, which at times is not very much found or very properly organized inside a family. So all these facilities makes this school or the institution, this external institution, a better place where a child can be nurtured physically and mentally in a better way, and also the socialization and culturalization, the cultural growth of the child is also ensured. Then the next point is the cooperation of different agencies. So school is the only agency through which cooperation of different agencies, which are considered to be the family, the community, the government or the state, may be successfully achieved. It is why all these agencies try to extend their full and complete cooperation in all the activities of school. So they all considered school as a very important entity or institution. So without the active cooperation of all these agencies, schools cannot achieve its objectives. So this is something which is very much reciprocal. Schools consider these informal agencies very important, and the informal agencies consider the importance of school also very much there, so that both of them can cooperate and they can actually do the same job or do the common job of creating a better citizen out of the child. So after seeing towards the importance of the school, let us see the functions of the school. And we all can say that the functions of school, if we try to divide into categories, then we can say that they are considered to be divided into two categories. The first one is the formal function, and the second one is the informal function. And let us just try to discuss both of these two in a detailed manner. So the first point is related to the formal function of the school. While talking about the formal functions of the school, we can say that it is very much related to the knowledge domain or the mental development of the child. And let us just see that what are those important points which can be covered here under the formal functions of the school. The first point is the development of mental powers. This is the first formal function of a school, and we can say that the development of mental powers of the child is something which is very much desired from a school, where the child becomes a citizen who can think very much freely, clearly, and logically. To complete this function, the school structures such type of experiences for this child that this child can be able to develop the interest and the inherent mental faculties, the inherent mental abilities according to the needs, the interest, and capabilities for the own good of the child and also for the good of the society. So, this is something which is considered the foremost important role or the function of a school. The next point is the cultivation of a dynamic and adaptable mind. This is something which can be considered the next important function or the next important formal function of a school. Basically, imparting knowledge of some sort which is very much dynamic in nature is the point which every child, which is not an end to itself but a means to achieve some end, actually desires from a school. The end is cultivation of a dynamic and adaptable mind which is resourceful and able to create new value for the future life. So this is again a very important function of the formal school system. The next point is the preservation, improvement, and transmission of culture. We have also seen that, in a way, schools were one of the outcomes of uh, the culture. This can be considered the transmission of culture can be considered the next formal function of school, where the school is considered to be an institution which is supposed to preserve and improve the national culture, and then it should also make a transmission of the values which are related to the national culture into the generation, like coming generations, and into the children who are the part of the school system. Then the next point is the education, which is very much related to vocational and industrial needs of the society. This can be considered the next most important formal function of a school, because this vocational and industrial education to children is something which is demanded by the society, and schools have to fulfill this demand. So, in a country like ours, we find schools to be very much alert to impart vocational and industrial education to the children according to their interests and capabilities, so that they can become capable of earning their wages, or they can support themselves uh, for their livelihood, and also they can in future serve the country in a sincere way. So some sort of vocational and industrial education is also the part of the curriculum in most of the schools. Even the new policy of education, if we see the policy document which is released in 2020, we can find this vocational education actually having a very important part. Then the next formal role is related to reorganization and reconstruction of the human experiences. What exactly this means? The reorganization and the reconstruction of human experiences. We all know that the function of school is not only to preserve the continuity of society. Basically, it has to meet social problems, it has to provide some sort of solutions to the social problems, basically bringing reforms to the society, and ultimately to actually make some sort of solutions percolating into the minds of the children of these problems which are the part of the society. And for this purpose, a continuous process of research in all the higher education institutions and all those parts of the education systems take place every time. These researchers provide us a sort of solution which percolates into the school system, and it makes the school system strengthened in terms of providing solutions to the social problems. It equips them, the schools, to make the children much more able citizens who can solve their own problems in their own innovative ways. Then we have got the next point as the development of citizenship, which is again a very important, essential quality of a school, where it is required from a school to develop in children, in the students, the essential quality of citizenship, so that they may become active and responsible citizens who have got the qualities of leadership, which can lead our nation on the path of progress in all spheres, or all the walks of life and all spheres of national life. So this is again a very important and global kind of function. Then the next function is the development of character, which can be considered as a function of school, which is very much desired, because ultimately we want to develop in our children good character, a very sound character. So this important feature of the formal school system, which is towards the development of morality and the social and we feeling, to make them able citizens to acquire in them firm and noble character, is also considered a very important function of the formal school system. In the older times, in the earlier times, when the family and the religious institutions developed the character of children jointly, uh, the scenario was different. But now the situation has changed. Now we can see that this is a function which is given to school. Basically, now the schools develop the character of children by allowing them to participate in all sort of activities which can be leading them towards development of their moral abilities, the ethics, the social activities, and which are supposed to inculcate in them the socially desirable values and lead to the formation of a very strong, or you can say very sound character in the children. So this is something which again is a very important formal function of the school. So after the formal functions of the school, let us see the informal functions of a school. The informal functions of the school is most of the times related to the physical, the social, and the emotional development of the children. Let us see all these three important points, or the important informal functions, one by one. The first function is the physical development, and this can be considered as the first and foremost informal function of the school, where we consider the school as a place where the child is getting the physical development also done. And that is why you can find that in the curriculum itself, we have got health and physical education, we have got sports and games, and all those related activities which are involving some sort of physical activities, physical exercise, and also the physical well-being for the children, because we consider that if the child is spending a lot of time in the environment of the school should provide him or her the physical well-being things also. So this is something which is very much important and is the informal function of the school. The next point here is the development of the we feeling or the social feeling. This is something which have to be given a lot of importance, because if we are trying to socialize a child, school is the most important place, and that is why school is also considered as a miniature society. So in this way we can say that the school should provide such a social environment to the children, which organizes the students into a citizen who is having faith in different type of social uh, things or social facilities, like the social service camps or the social functions, even the associations between the peer group, the parents, the teachers, and all sort of other social gatherings and important features of the society. So that all these socially desirable values, which can be considered as sympathy, cooperation, tolerance, social awakening, and also in in a way becoming a developed, disciplined, and a proper citizen of the country in a very natural way. So this is something which can be inculcated if the social feeling can be created or can be uh, enshrined in the child. So this was the second important function. Then the next function is the emotional development. This can be considered again as the other important informal function of school, and we don't have to ignore this point that the emotional development of a child is also very much important. And for this, the entire environment of school must be very much keen towards developing a emotional side of this child. It should be done in a very artistic way, and there should be a lot of aesthetic sense in the vicinity of the school, like there should be a garden where a lot of flowers or a lot of trees should be there. There should be natural objects like a pond or some sort of arrangement where they can also observe the small animals or those fish, which can be a kind of learning and enhancement factors for the child. And also they can observe and they can be in the close vicinity or where they are closer to the environment, so that they become sensitive towards the environment. The school building and the campus should be very much neat and clean. The feeling of cleanliness, hygiene should be very much enshrined into the children. The walls of the rooms should be properly cleaned and whitewashed, and this should be done periodically. And the decoration, which is inside the classroom, should be done with the help of the children, so that they can actually uh, make this classroom decorated according to their own taste, their own likeliness. Whatever they experience, wherever they go, they can draw the sketches of those places, the experiences which they have gained in terms of visiting to a place which is historical in nature, or maybe exhibitions, or if they take part in any sort of competitions. Those things which are the outcomes of these things, these activities can be placed on the walls of the classroom, so that the child can gain a lot of uh, moral or motivational sort, and the aesthetic sense can also be developed in the child. So the feeling of making the classroom clean and beautiful, and also articulating it with the creations of the child brings in, like, there is a sense of admiration towards the good feelings, towards the emotional development to the child, which can happen very readily. And also a kind of idea of relation with the Almighty, then the feelings which are related to values, morality, and a kind of respect towards human life, also respect towards the other animals and other creatures created by God, can be enshrined in the child if we bring them to the close vicinity of the environment. Also, altogether, these things will be helping the child towards growing the emotional side, and we can say that the emotional development will take place. So, this is something which is related to the informal education of the or informal function of a school or any educational institution. So, with these words, we have just reached to the end of the session, and let us just have a quick recap. In the session, we have seen the meaning of a school, why we consider school as a agency of education. So school is a place where a definite curriculum is basically transacted to children, and during a definite duration of time by some specific teachers. So this is a specific meaning which is given to school. Then we have seen that why the schools are to be introduced, and we have seen that in our ancient times, human life was simple, and all those type of requirements were also very much limited. But as the human beings started civilizing, or the culture started expanding, a lot of complexity grew, and the family could not preserve the kind of way in which the family members can transmit its culture to the children. And this was the point when a need of a school was felt. Then we have seen the importance of school. We have seen that how a school is very much important in terms of the preservation, the purification, and transmission of culture. It also serves as a connecting link between home and the school. Schools provide a special environment, then they ensure the harmonious development of the personality of a child. They develop cultural pluralism, they propagate ideas and the ideological uh, well-being of the state. They perpetuate and develop society, and they also encourage the corporate life. They also create the citizens, better citizens, and also play the role of making uh, the a kind of institution which is imparting better education, even better, as we can find in from the informal institution of a family or a home. Then they also provide the facilities, and they also are very much pivotal in terms of the facilitation of cooperation of different agencies. After this, we have seen the formal and the informal functions of education, or the formal and informal functions of schools, where we have seen that the formal functions are very much related to the enhancement of knowledge or the mental powers, um, things related to uh, the development of the mind, which is very much dynamic in nature. All these related aspects were covered in the formal functions of school. And in terms of the informal functions, we have seen that the physical development, then the development of the social feelings, emotional development, all these are considered as the functions, the informal functions of the school. And we have seen that how important role schools play in the development of the child. They are a very important aspect of the well-being, the whole development of the child, the all-round development of the child. So the role of school is very much pivotal, and it can't be underestimated at all. So these are few of those references and the suggested links which can be seen for further learning and can be important if you want to learn more about this topic. And this is all for today, and let us see each other in another session some other time. Thank you from my side. Dear students, we were watching a video on sociology of childhood development, and in this lecture we discussed on school as an agency of education. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the national lockdown period for COVID-19 pandemic, using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.